Hello, St. Thomas Academy, and welcome to the Cadet Football Show. I'm your host, Mike Maxwell, and to my left, as always, is head football coach Dan O'Brien. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. Congrats on a nice win on Friday night over Cretin-Derham Hall. You survived homecoming and all the hype surrounding the game. And I don't think the final score of 34-0 really is indicative of how close the game actually was. Give us your assessment of the game.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%, Mike. I think that it certainly, from a coaching standpoint, it didn't feel like it was 34-0. You know, there was some tense moments throughout the game until probably early fourth quarter, middle of the fourth quarter, after that final interception. We felt pretty comfortable at that point, but. Yeah, first half, it was hard. We had the short field a couple of times and weren't able to get any points out of it. And again, something we need to get better at. But certainly, Cretin played well. They're a much improved team, and Coach Walsh over there has it going a little bit. And, they'll be tough by the end of the year. Hopefully, we won't need to see them again.
Yeah, well, they need to reduce some of their penalties and other kind of mental mistakes. But I would agree. I thought they played pretty well,
especially on defense. Their defense was real good.
They were great, I thought. So another shutout for your defense. They didn't give CDH much to work with. They had a couple of big plays here and there, but essentially they didn't really give them a whole lot of room to breathe. Were you pleased with how they played?
Yeah, for sure. I think defensively right now we're playing with a lot of confidence. If you take a look at our defensive front, we're not real big. We got 190, 200 pounds, 215 pounds up front. Not big guys, but we have some speed, and we kind of predicate our defense, Mike, on speed, and I thought we did a nice job up front, creating some issues for them offensively, and outside linebackers, Johnny Miller and Bennett Kotak had great nights, both of them. They met at the quarterback a couple of different times and both played physical, and we were good at the second level with our inside linebackers and of course our defensive backs. We had 3 interceptions and another fumble that was caused too. So when you win the turnover battle, your defense is doing something right. And as I said earlier, I think defensively we're playing with a lot of confidence right now and we're flying around pretty good. And again, credit to John Springer, our defensive coordinator. He's done a nice job with those guys. And again, Chad Ablett, our offensive coordinator, both of those guys work tons of hours each week. But the defense, they certainly had a good night on Friday.
Right. Well, and I would say, CDH definitely had the size advantage. Their line and a lot of the same guys, playing both ways. But that speed on both sides of the ball, I think, makes a pretty big difference for you. So that's fun to see. It was a tale of two quarters for the offense. Really, they struggled in the first and third quarters. And as we have suggested, let's give a little credit to the CDH defense. They played well. You took a 14-0 lead into the half. What was the mood like when you went into the half?
Well, it certainly wasn't a comfortable 14-0 lead. Right. Again, through special teams and the defense gave our offense some short fields, and we were able to get a couple. But I thought there was one, maybe even two, that we left out there. That I was hoping to get some points out of. So I think that was our message, like, hey, things are fine, but we need to clean a few things up, and we made some adjustments at halftime offensively, and it did take us a minute there in the third quarter to get it back going again, but I think we did wear them down a little bit, and I think the fourth quarter was pretty much all ours.
Yeah, for sure. Third quarter. Yeah, you said it took a minute. It took actually 12 minutes. But 20 points in the fourth quarter when your defense and special teams gave you three short fields in a row, and that pretty much was the nail in the coffin for them. And it was great to get those short fields, but you can't always count on that in games like this. So.
Absolutely, and it's again, and when we get it, we got to take advantage of them.
Right.
That's what the good teams do when you get that opportunity, and I'm confident we will. There's just a couple of tweaks. We missed a small thing here and a small thing there, and again, to Cretin-Derham Hall's credit, they played pretty good defense when we weren't exactly right on offense.
Yeah. I was going to mention to you, I was in the booth actually on Friday night watching the game, and watching Savion Hart and his patience as he's following his blockers and waiting for the hole, he has tremendous vision. And it's really fun to watch. And obviously, Love is equally as good, but he's a little bit more of a bruiser.
Yeah, they are different
so
styles.
It's fun to have them on your team, obviously, and it gives you a couple of different looks that you can throw against almost every team. What do you think about those two guys?
Well, I think you're exactly right, and they're two different style running backs. You're right. Love is going to come in and hit you right in the mouth, and Savion's a little bit of a slasher. Both of them run hard. It's nice having two. Of course, each one of those guys would like more touches a game. But what it does do and what it will do, it's going to save their bodies. And I'm excited for how hard those guys will be able to run towards the end of the season, because instead of having 150 carries, they're going to each have 75 carries, and it's really good for the team. But the most exciting thing about those two for me is how much they support one another. It could be easy for one of those guys to say, hey, he's getting my carries, but they're as equally happy when one scores a touchdown as if it were their own. So they've been fun, they've been great to work with, and they're exciting to watch for sure.
Yeah. Well, I did notice, though, you had a couple of new wrinkles in the offense, having those two guys on the field at the same time, and I thought that was fun to see. It really probably puts the defense on their heels when both of them are on the field, and they can touch the ball at any time from any place.
Yeah, for sure, and I think we'll continue to see more of that. We do have two other really good fullbacks that will play, McLean Lauber and Cody Packer. Those guys do a fantastic job as well. But yeah, there are some things that we want to take advantage of. Love has excellent hands, so we want to try to find a way to get him the ball. So you'll see him in the slot maybe a little bit more. But again, two dangerous weapons that I'm happy that we don't have to go against running backs like that every single week.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the players of the game. Let's start with offense.
Offense this week was Max Anderson. Cretin-Derham Hall had a fantastic defensive plan for us, and Max is our center. He's the guy that's responsible for making sure our line is set and guys are in the right spot. He did a great job this week of directing traffic up front, so he was our offensive player of the game.
Yeah, he did a heck of a job against, was it Bojo? Was that the nose guard?
Yeah.
He's
a good player.
He took up a lot of real estate as well, so great job, Max. And on defense?
Defense, we named two this week. We named Anthony Bickford. He had 2 interceptions, and he's played well. Of course, he's coming off the knee injury. He didn't play at all as a junior. Started for us as a sophomore, and he's come a long way. And so he's been fun to watch him progress. So he did have 2 interceptions, and he and Jackson Sursioglu, who probably doesn't get as much credit as he should. Again, a 3-year start at inside linebacker, full-time captain for us. Just week in and week out has been consistent, and he was all over the stat sheet this week. So we have 2 this week that we named on defense.
That's awesome. And then how about special teams?
Special teams this week went to Jake Borman. We probably had as good a night catching punts as we've had in my 5 years here. And that play is so important. And sometimes people don't understand, but anytime that ball hits the ground on a punt, there's more than likely than not whoever kicked it is going to get a whole bunch of what we call roll yards. When that thing hits the ground and we don't field it. So we did a great job catching the ball in the air, and I think he probably averaged 7 or 8 yards per return. And if we think we get 3 or 4 yards, that's pretty average, and that's a good return. So outstanding night for Jake as a punt returner.
Yeah, the couple of knuckleballs he fielded were tough, and then he had a couple of great returns as well. So it's good to see him. And then the final player of the game, the grinder.
Our grinder, my favorite. I know I say it every week, Mike, but it's absolutely my favorite, and it's what our team is about. Again, I say it every week. But Jeffrey Craig, he had a little extra motivation, and it was he came to us from Cretin-Derham Hall. But it doesn't have so much to do with that particular game, but he practices hard every single day. He plays hard every single game. He sacrifices his body. He's one of those kids that has one speed and one speed only, and that's high. It's go speed. So we honored him with a grinder this week, and hopefully he'll continue to be contagious with our defense, and we'll continue continue to play as he leads us.
Yeah, that's fun. So let's turn our attention to this week's game. You will face a different Raider team when you go to Hastings this week. The Raiders are 1-2 after getting beat up by a pretty good Simley team, 39-13. What are you expecting to see from Hastings on Friday?
Well, I think it's a typical Hastings team other than their record. Their other loss was to Chanhassen, who's the top 10 team in Class 5A, very similar to where we're at. And you're right, Simley is really good this year. So they have a couple of real good athletes on the outside. They've got some speed guys. They've got a wide receiver. If most people are familiar with Grady O'Neill last year, it's our fast kid. They've got a track kid that Grady raced against, and this kid beat Grady last year consistently throughout the year in track in the 100 and the 200. So he's got some speed, number 10, so we'll keep an eye on him. They've got another really good receiver, number 6. Quarterback throws a pretty good ball. And their running back is now a senior. We've seen him for 3 years, number 32. Tired of seeing him, but he's a nice back. So we'll have our hands full. We'll need to play well. We need to continue, to improve each week. And if we have a letdown, anybody can beat us, and it's no different going down to Hastings.
Yeah, and they've always got some. Typically they've got a big line and can move guys around pretty well.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to again combat that a little bit as well.
And going to play down there, it's not easy. It's a fantastic stadium. It's next to Jerry Brown Stadium. It's my second favorite place to play. Beautiful McNamara Stadium down kind of in the middle of the downtown area, down in the bowl. It's a great setting for a high school football game, but it's also
historic.
tough.
Yeah, for sure. Tough place to play.
Although
the turf will be a little better now that they've put artificial turf in. It used to be you come in there about 6-inch grass and they're used to it, but we're not. It'll be a little better on that front. So what are the one or two things you guys are working on this week? After a big win over CDH, what are you guys working on this week?
Well, the big thing is to kind of try to continue the momentum. Last week we talked all week long about not making the Cretin game too big of a game. The Cretin-Derham Hall, that's a rivalry game. We knew that they would be improved to be better, and it's homecoming. So there was a lot of emotion last week. So probably the biggest thing this week for us is to not let our emotion dip to the point where we have one of those games where we play down because we spent all our energy last week. So that's what we'll work on practice. We talked as a staff. We're going to harp on the kids on fundamentals. Some things fundamentally that I think we've got to go back to square one and make sure that we're doing our fundamentals correctly. And we can be fine against some of the lesser teams, but against the really good teams, our fundamentals need to be sharper. So we'll focus on that this week. Not going to do a whole bunch of fancy stuff. We're not going to add a whole bunch of different things in this week. We're just going to try to get our team better doing the things that we do well and improving on those things, and hopefully that will serve us well on Friday night.
That's great. And what are you hoping to see from our guys as they take the field on Friday?
Well, I'd like to see, again, try to win in all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, special teams. And for us defensively, they're going to throw the ball all over the place. They'll throw, shoot, 2 years ago they went in an empty backfield and threw it 43 times. So we have to have our defensive backs ready. We'll have to probably play with 6 defensive backs instead of 4, and make sure we guys with fresh legs in there all the time, and got to continue to play well up front. Offensively, I look for us to come off the ball, clean up a couple of things that we didn't do as well against Cretin as we would normally do, and go from there. Special teams, same kind of deal. We did find a secret weapon with Noah Erickson. He punted. He had a punt that was 65 yards in the air. So again, when we can do those sort of things, that's great for us, and we'll continue to work on that.
He actually did real well on Friday night. Like to see a little more passing too.
Well, I think you will. And we've got to improve that part of our game. There's lots of different pieces that go into that. You've got protection, you've got throwing the ball, and you've got catching the ball. There's 3 different things there that we have to make sure. But certainly that's something that we're aware of as coaches that we want to do more of, and we want to do it better than what we've been. So we'll continue to work on that, and I assure you, you'll see the ball in the air probably a little bit more.
All right, that sounds good. I look forward to that. Well, thanks, Coach, for talking a little cadet football with me today. I look forward to doing this again next week. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You got it. So your cadet football team plays at Hastings on Friday evening. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. The game will be played at McNamara Stadium in Hastings. Tickets can be purchased online and at the gate. We'll add the link below so you can get your tickets in advance. If you're unable to make it but want to watch it live, you can do so at cadetbroadcast.com. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Go Cadets.